Ladies and gentlemen, KocoSports.com proudly presents Wrestle AM. It's half wrestling show, it's half morning show, it's pretty much all BS. And of course, you got half the Coco crew here holding it down live. Yours truly, the sexiest man on all Internet Wrestling Radio. That's right, Boom Boom here, shaking the room live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. Of course, join me there way across the pond, the English stud muffin himself, talking about LK. What's up, buddy?
You know what? I feel clean. I feel fresh. I hope everyone had a fucking magnificent Christmas. It was nice to have a few days off from this channel, but we're back rocking and rolling with the SmackDown Live review. And then after this show, we will be going live with our yearly Triforce Awards. We'll be going Pro Wrestling Awards, and I'm fucking excited for that. We had a great fucking episode of SmackDown. I did not watch Raw. The only thing I know is Dusty Rhodes, the bullshit that happened with that, and apparently New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus was just amazing. So, Internet live comments, we'll get to them later. Win, loss, or tie. I'm going to go first because I'm English. That's what Cena basically did. I'll go first because he's Cena. So, I'll go first because I'm English. I'm going to give the show a win. Great show. Thoroughly entertained. And this is one of those shows where I wouldn't pinpoint things to watch. Watch the whole thing. I recommend everyone here to watch the whole thing if they haven't already. What do you think, Bruce?
You know what? I'm going to give it a win as well. I think overall, it was a solid show. Now, I think there's a couple, like 2 or 3 things they could have done differently or maybe added to make it a little bit better, and I'll get into that later. But overall, I was entertained by the show. I was worried that, I'm going off fumes, ladies and gentlemen. I've been up since about 4 or 5 o'clock this morning, and I was worried by the time I hit, this time, which is it's 10 o'clock at night here in Richmond. And I was worried I'd be, like going on fumes. I'd be fighting sleep. No, the show kept me entertained. It kept me up. Well, that and a cup of coffee. But overall, I enjoyed it. I think it's a win. You should check it out. Real quick here, Clifton Smith, he's over here in the chat room. And if you guys want to ask questions, feel free to ask us anything or down here in the comment section. Clifton Smith, he wants to know, why is SmackDown better than Raw? Now, LK, do you want to take that one first, or do you want to hear my theory?
All right, I'll give my theory. I think it's better because 2 hours, firstly. Secondly, it feels important. Like, when you watch it, it's like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen here. Oh, I wonder what we got here. Like, you're interested in everyone. They develop everyone's characters. Characters progress. Storylines progress. Different people are in main event scenes. It's AJ, Ambrose, Cena, Corbin, Ziggler, Miz. There's lots of people in the main. Raw, you got Owens, Reigns, Rollins, maybe Jericho. That's just you can't describe it. It's better. Like, Raw is like dirty. It's like the unhygienic homeless person, and SmackDown's the old clean. They just wash their hands with nice water with soap. It's just a better show. And I don't want to stress this, but the people putting over Raw right now, Block Island. Like, they literally last night, I didn't watch Raw. I watched IPW UK Super Show 5, which I'll be reviewing tomorrow, which featured believe it or not, Booms, you ready to this come out of my mouth? I enjoyed a death match. That's how good that show was. I loved every second of it. There was tax, there was blood, there was staple guns, everything.
Damn.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It was on FlowSlam. Really enjoyed it. And it was just like I was reading the tweets and somebody put a poll. What did you think of Raw? 51% yes, 49% said no. Then what? I don't want to talk about that because we are not that channel to bury the fans. We are not that channel. If you enjoyed Raw, good for you. I just don't understand it. So, Booms, what's your theory?
My theory is, again, I think it's the 2 hours actually does help. But I also think it's because, believe it or not, this is going to sound like a weakness, but I think SmackDown has turned this into a strength, is their roster is thin. They know they don't have that much talent to work with, so they have to be very meticulous with the talent that they do have, and they feature them prominently. They have them in storylines. They advance these storylines. They've got to make it scary because they don't have that much to work with. I mean, they don't have an extra 10, 15 guys back there they have to try to put over or try to work in. No, these are the guys that they have, and this is it. I mean, they're not getting anybody else, at least not till they do another draft lottery. So I really felt like that. And there's no McMahons. I don't think Triple H and Stephanie are back there. I know Vince sure as hell doesn't seem like he's back there. Because remember when we interviewed Chris Dejoseph with Lucha Underground last week, which, by the way, you can check out in our archives. He started saying, as a writer, you're just trying to get through the end of the day. You just come up with this and you'll show it to the producers and they don't like it. You'll to write this, and you'll show it to the agents, and they don't like it, so you got to rewrite it. And then you get to the day of the show, and you'll put it out there like, they don't like it, so you got to rewrite it. I mean, you're rewriting up to the actual beginning of the show, and what you get is this watered down mush. And all the writers were doing were just trying to get to the end of another day. I don't feel like that's the case with SmackDown. I felt like it's something like maybe there's some rewrites, but there's not as many, I guess, not as many hands in the pot, if you will, messing this up. So that's why I feel like SmackDown is a better show, because they're more meticulous and there's less, there's less people putting their hands in it.
I agree. And speaking of Lucha Underground, this Thursday we're going to have Vinny Massaro.
Nice.
From Lucha Underground. We've got him coming on for a guest. That'll be 2 a.m. UK time, which is 1 hour before this went live. We'll be going live, answering questions, Q&As. Just exciting time to be a Lucha Underground fan. Exciting time to be a KocoSports Internet Infantry member. Just exciting times. Triforce after this. So let's get breaking down of this SmackDown.
Yeah, let's get into it here. Now, again, keep your questions coming. Now, Ash Roy, he asks, what do you think about the tag team match? Well, I'm glad he asked that, because that's the very first match here. This was a four corners elimination match. You had the Wyatt, okay, time out. Bad boom boom. Penalty on the field. False start on Booms. 5-yard penalty. Repeat review. I should mention that John Cena came out first. This is in Chicago, Illinois. Came out to a rather mixed reaction. Fans weren't having it. He talked about the match coming up, really putting over that match. He was actually putting over the show, which, love him or hate him, I think that was a good thing. I really felt like that set the tone for the show, gave me an excuse to watch, because now that I know that there's going to be a championship match, as we saw between Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, and AJ Styles, there was going to be a women's championship match. There was going to be a tag team championship match. And then people started chanting Undertaker, and he said, you know what, 2016 wasn't that great for me. People call me washed up. Somebody called me a part-timer, and I'm not done. I'm not leaving. My time is now, and I'm going to challenge whoever wins tonight's championship match to a title match at the Royal Rumble. So there you go. I'm not a big Cena fan. I'm thinking he's about to take a step back, but I think, and this is just my theory, I'm thinking maybe this Mania may be his swan song. I'm thinking they're going to give him, and I could be wrong, I'm guessing this could be they're going to give him this run so he ties Ric Flair. He gets 16 world championships. He has one last big hoorah, and then he's going to start slowly but surely stepping back before he just ultimately retires, because 2017 will mark 15 years he's been on the main roster.
I did think that before this show, but now with him saying he's not doing that, he would come across as a really, really big hypocrite if he then did that. So I generally think, well, if I'm Vince, okay, and I'm looking at Cena, this guy's money. Okay, let's face it, everyone hates him. If you're listening to this, there's a 99% chance you dislike John Cena. I don't dislike John Cena. I think he's a good human being, and that he's a great marketable guy. He may not be the best wrestler, but can produce good matches, and he has the ability to make anyone a megastar. Okay, now if I'm Vince, I'm going to Cena. Cena, buddy, I want to keep you happy. Pick any one of that SmackDown roster, and he's yours for Mania. We'll book it all. He's going over, but you're the person who picks him. And then every single year at WrestleMania, Cena picks someone. So this year, he could be, I like that Baron Corbin. I do. He has tattoos and muscles. Vince is like, I love them both, John. We have a great taste in wrestlers. And then they do. Baron Corbin, Cena. Corbin goes over Cena at WrestleMania. Boom. Next year, fucking Samoa Joe, Cena. Samoa Joe goes, keep doing it and doing it and doing it. In between those years, that Mania, you can have him win the belt. Just at Mania, have him solely put someone over every year without fail. And it gives him that pleasure of, I'm giving back, which he always says he wants to do. So I don't think he's going to ride off into sunset. I think his schedule will be a bit more better now. It's he said he's back. I hope he's not going to fuck off again, because I find that quite, hypocritical. Again, I don't mean to stress that. It's like, he's like, remember like 2012, it was Rock and Cena. Like, he's just some part-timer. I'd never do that. I'm a loyal WWE guy. He's fucking doing exactly the same thing. Like, I like Big Match John as much as the other 10-year-old, but I don't know. Something's iffy with that promo. Like, I didn't believe. It's just difficult. We'll just see how it goes, and we'll talk about it at the Rumble. And I love the heel little bit at the end where he's like, you know, I have this championship match. Why, you say? Because I'm John Cena. You know, it's a little bit heely. He's basically saying, fuck the rules, I'm John Cena. That's what he was technically saying in that promo. So there's a little bit of heeliness to see Mr. Big Match John's promo, which is always a good thing to see.
All right, so let's get on here now. Let's go to the Four Corners tag team match. You had the champions, the Wyatt family, versus Heath Slater and Rhino versus American Alpha versus the Usos. So overall, I liked the match. I think the ending wasn't quite what I was looking for, but overall, I enjoyed it. So let's break it down here. Of course, this is a Four Corners, so you know, if a member of a team is pinned, that team is eliminated. Anybody can be tagged in at any moment. The first to be pinned was Heath Slater and Rhino. Now, Heath Slater, man, had a very scary spot in there. He was getting on the top rope, and it looked like, to me, I don't know if this was by accident or by design, but it looked kind of nasty. He slipped off. It looked like he was supposed to jump into a super kick, but he landed kind of awkward on his leg, and he immediately ate the pin. I know when they went back to like a wide shot, he was grabbing his knee, trying to trying to work, trying to flex it, trying to stretch it out a little bit. And I was worried he may have legitimately hurt himself. Now, I don't know if that was just part of what it was supposed to happen, or if that was a legit injury, but it was kind of scary nonetheless. Then you get into then it went down to the Usos and American Alpha. Those two teams were battling it out. American Alpha makes the save on the outside, come to the inside. They hit a take two here. Gable and Jordan hit belly-to-belly suplexes. Gable rolled up Jay. He got the pinfall, so the Usos are now eliminated. The Usos then attacked American Alpha afterwards. This brings in the Wyatt family, which I thought was smart booking here. Because up until this point, the Wyatts, they are the champions. They had not been in this match once. Nobody had been in there. This is Orton and Harper defending for the Wyatts. Then it got a little weird. I thought the way they were going to do this was they were going to have the Usos keep doing the beatdown and then just have the Wyatts go in there and pick up the scraps. But they did the spot where Gable looked like he was going to try to superplex Randy Orton. Orton was blocking it. Luke Harper goes over there appearing to save Orton, but Orton's like, I don't know if he hit him or fell off. I don't know what they were trying. It looked awkward, but it looked awkward. This confusion allowed American Alpha to get the tag. They hit the Grand Amplitude. They get the pin. So your winners and new tag team champions, American Alpha. I thought it was a pretty good match. This one went for a very, very, well, for WWE stands, went for a long time. I'm not upset about American Alpha winning the championships. I just hate that there was no build to it. And I felt like American Alpha, what should have been their moment, was just completely hot-shotted. There was no build up to it. I thought, if anything, American Alpha was going to beat the Usos for the tag team championships in a future program. But I felt like their moment was completely spoiled because not everybody's talking about, okay, well, American Alpha won the championships. It's, hey, what was going on with the Wyatt family? What was that miscue? I felt like it was completely overshadowed, and I felt like that was a wasted opportunity. I felt like maybe, I'm glad. I am absolutely ecstatic that American Alpha won the tag team championships. I'm a fan of American Alpha. I just felt like the way it was presented completely overshadowed their win. They just completely squandered a build-up. I think this could have been saved, not the Four Corners match, but a match between American Alpha and the Wyatts could have been saved for a pay-per-view match. This could have been something big for the Rumble, but I felt like WWE dropped the ball. Sir, what were your thoughts?
I was taught because I've got here. I enjoyed it. Like I thought the match was very good. It's like I always go on my story, so I go 3 stars for the match. It was a very good match. To me, it's kind of like, what the fuck are they trying to do? Where are they going to go from here? So you got a few solutions. You could go three-way with Orton, Harper, and Wyatt. Or you could do Orton versus Harper. Loser leaves the Wyatt family. That way you can have Harper go off, do what he wants. Orton then gets Bray all by himself, which was his plan all along. And then you could do Orton versus Bray at WrestleMania. Harper now not in the picture. He's doing something else solo. I have no idea. And I'm on the opposite. I think it's because Alpha's been so irrelevant, and that's not an insult to them. It's just the way they've been written and the way they've been presented. They've just been very irrelevant. And people are not giving them a good reaction. Maybe they're not perceived by the mainstream as big stars. Now with those tag titles, they can be perceived as big stars, fingers crossed. So now Alpha can go on a feud with the Usos. Then we can get Orton versus Harper. Loser leaves the Wyatt family. Harper loses. Like I said, he goes off to go do his own thing. Orton has Bray all to himself. He's eliminated all members of the Wyatt family. He has Bray's trust. He can then stab him in the back. Orton versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, and Bray Wyatt wins. That way, you've kind of got Bray and Luke, and then if you must have the Wyatt family come back, you can always go back to say, Bray, look, I'm sorry, Luke, brother Luke, I need you, blah, blah, blah. You can always go back to it. I just think it's an idea, and I'm just a bit... I'm not really as worried as such. I'm just a bit confused as where the fuck they're going to go heading into the Rumble, but I guess time will tell. Still a long time away.
Here's another thing. This is something that didn't... I guess I could talk about it now because it didn't happen in the show. I really felt like they should have followed up with this. It didn't have to be immediately afterwards, but I felt like at some point during the show, they needed to follow up. They needed to either A, speak with American Alpha, be like, you guys just want just a brutal four corners, tag team match. You beat three of the best teams here on SmackDown. You're tag team champions. How does it feel? I really felt like, one, they could have done that, or two, they could have went backstage and, you could have had Harper and Randy Orton arguing and Bray Wyatt trying to keep the peace and be like, well, guys, it seems like there was a bit of a miscue. Well, what happened? I really felt like there should have been a follow-up immediately. I know somebody's probably thinking, well, they're going to do that next week. Well, I felt like next week is maybe a little too late. I really felt like they should have done some kind of follow-up.
I can understand where you're coming from, but when if they're trying to build something towards the Rumble, it's still a very long time away, so maybe they don't want to rush it, but that's maybe giving them a bit too much of the benefit of the doubt. I think that a lot of the time with these WWE programs, they're very bad at that, following up. Like the women's title match, there was no follow-up on who the Lucha bird was. I wish they did do that a lot more, but in the end of the day, at least just get us talking and giving us, questions creatively instead of coming out of Raw wanting to kill ourselves or iron our hands. So it's a bit of progress still, but I enjoyed the match, worth watching, and glad that Alpha are the champions, not fucking the Wyatt family anymore.
Okay. Let's see. There was a quick backstage segment with Renee Young talking to Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler talked about, maybe his decision last week wasn't the best, but he always does his best when his back's up against the wall, and tonight it makes him the wild card. Then we immediately do another backstage segment with Dasha Fuentes. She talked to James Ellsworth, talked about, you being made fun of, how are you feeling? And Carmella, of all people, interrupted. And this is a follow-up from last week saying that she finds James Ellsworth, quote-unquote, uniquely attractive, and then walked off with him. I'm kind of curious to see where this is going here. I don't think this is good. I'm hoping, because I keep thinking, well, I mean, the first thing that pops in my mind is, she using him, but using him for what? Using him to get it, or is she using him to get at somebody, or using him to get something? I just don't see what her end. Maybe that, and I guess that's the point. We don't see what Carmella's end game is right now. I'm just hoping it's not something like, and I'm going to say this name, please don't pop your top here, but this reminds me of the storyline they had between Eve Torres and Zack Ryder.
Oh, geez, can we please go? This is the first show back since Christmas. I've been in a great mood, and you have to bring that man up, don't you?
Well, I'm just remembering the storyline, and it just kind of, I'm just worried it's not going to, I hope it doesn't turn into something like that.
Right, so if we take our memory back to last week or the week before, Zack Ryder won a number one contenders match to become the number one contender for the SmackDown tag titles. Now, if the original plan was for Orton and Harper to interact, Hype Brothers would right now be the SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions. It was God up above sentenced Zack to injury to prevail him from becoming tag champ. That makes me a happy guy. Like I'm not happy he's injured. I'm just happy at the circumstances. And sometimes in wrestling you get bummed, like Finn Balor with the belt and having to forfeit. Here we get a good one with Zack being injured, and now Alpha get the tag belts.
Mm-hmm. So next we go to the SmackDown Women's Championship match. We have the champion Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. What can I say? There were a few botches on this. I'm not going to lie, but overall, I found this to be a very entertaining match. I would say there's about 2 or 3 things worth checking out here. One, did you not notice that Becky Lynch used Pentagon Jr.'s arm breaker?
Yeah, I've got that in my notes. I hated that. I hated it. It's an arm breaking move, and it didn't break her arm. I don't see the logic.
But it made me smile because it lets me know that somebody, either her or somebody with WWE, is watching Lucha Underground.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to. It made my heart melt knowing that I get to watch Lucha tomorrow. But I'll be watching Lucha on Thursday because we're doing the Lucha review on Thursday. Because go watch NXT and 205 Live tomorrow. But
in the middle of this match, we had a La Luchadora come back out, which is kind of puzzling because last week it was Becky Lynch in disguise. This week it was obviously a totally different person. And then there was a cool spot where Becky Lynch put Alexa Bliss in the disarmor, and Bliss managed to get her foot on the ropes. And of course, the referee calls for the break, and Alexa grabs her arm, and she had it contorted. I don't know if this was like an old injury or if she's double jointed. If she's double jointed, that makes it even hotter. Anyway, focus. She did this thing with her arm where I legitimately thought for like a couple of seconds she had really broke her arm or had it pulled out of socket. And then that allowed La Luchadora to interfere by ramming Becky Lynch's head into the ring post. This allowed Alexa Bliss to hit a DDT. He gets the win. And we keep wondering who it's going to be. Now, for one, I'm going to say check out this match. Yes, there were a few botches in there, but overall it was enjoyable. La Luchadora. Now, I caught just a little bit of a glimpse. I don't know who it is exactly, but I think it's but I've got about 3 suspects. One, either the La Luchadora is either Naomi, or 2, it's either, and this is going to be the outside chance here, is that it's either Rosa Mendez or
no, Rosa Mendez. Oh no, that's fuck me sideways, you son of a bitch. You pulled that one out there. Oh fuck, I forgot. I've been literally people on Twitter, because during the adverts I get really bored. So people have been uploading the screenshot. Oh my God, Eva Mendes, that makes complete sense now. It makes complete sense because she's tanned, but she's not too tanned, and it looks like her and her lips. And oh God, it's gonna be Eva Mendes. Oh.
No, Rosa Mendez. My bad. Somebody just correcting me out there.
Dude, Rosa Mendez. I know. Just imagine the program of Rosa Mendez and Becky Lynch right now. Oh, I was hoping it was Mickie James or something. But for crying out loud, if it's Rosa Mendez, every good word I've ever said about SmackDown, I'm going to delete every video I've ever said a good word about SmackDown. Jesus, she's nothing more than a gutter slut. Jesus Christ. Oh, you scared me then, you little fucker. You scared me big.
But I don't know. That's that's the 3 suspects that came to mind because, I only got like a couple of seconds. And the only thing I could tell was 2 things. One, this was a person who was not Caucasian, and 2, this person had black hair. That's the only 2 things that I could really see in like that 2 seconds that I got a glimpse.
I got paused. There was a paused version someone uploaded on their Twitter machine, and I saw it was tanned. Now I know for it, so that removes Paige from the list. Mickie James is fairly tanned. Rosa Mendez is tanned. You really have scared me with that Rosa Mendez. You really... Someone on Twitter, I can't remember who, I will give credit if I remember, Diana Perazzo. They posted a picture of the lady's face, plus Diana Perazzo's recently. I think it could be her, but I think she would have to do something in NXT before moving up.
No, it's not Diana
Perazzo. That's way...
It's not.
Yeah, maybe she just played the role, and then next week... it's actually like someone else playing. I don't think it was Mickie James because Mickie James is a bit more thicker. So I honestly think Rosa Mendez, which you said, that's what I think, and you've just ruined my life with that.
I'm glad I'm doing my part. Or now somebody suggested maybe it's Ember Moon, and I was like,
maybe. I mean, black hair, tan girl. I mean, it's a possibility. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to rule anything out because for all we know, it could actually be someone differently. Like it could someone just.
It could, yeah. I know what you're saying. It could just be somebody just to put a body into that suit.
So it could be Mickie James, and we could get Mickie James versus Becky Lynch at Rumble. Who knows?
That's a possibility. All right, now we go backstage. This was another backstage segment, which I think was actually a badly needed follow-up. Renee Young, who had been called out to the Miz's locker room, private locker room, he had security out front. He already told, I think it was Dasha Fuentes early in the evening, he was not going to answer any questions from anyone except for Renee Young after last week's incidents. Maurice answered the door and threatened Young for slapping her husband and says, if you do this again, I'll put your hands on my husband. I'll, basically, I'll give you whatever. Miz comes out. It's like, oh, told security to scram. Says, well, don't you have something to ask me? And to which Renee Young asked Miz how he planned on following up his strong 2016 year. Of course, Miz starts bragging. Dean Ambrose showed up behind Miz in a security shirt. Renee Young starts smiling, and then Miz turns around and Ambrose clocks him. He calls for security. The security comes in. Dean Ambrose beats up two of them, gets on the walkie-talkie and says, all clear. I think this was good. I think that was a receipt that needed to be given out because, okay, I know you're not married, but you have a girlfriend, and I'm married. And, if someone, I get not threatened
publicly,
but, tried to shame my wife or, try to do something with her honor, I would take it as a man. I would take exception to that. And I don't give a damn. There's not too many things I would fight over, but that's one of them. That's one of the things I would straight up get into a fucking fight over. It's like, I don't give a shit. I'll fucking clock you for that. So I like, because that response seemed completely natural, seemed completely justified after last week, and I think it's a perfect addition to this feud because now, instead of it being about the Intercontinental Championship, instead of it just being about two wrestlers, now it's become personal. Because now you've brought somebody who Renee Young didn't want any part of this. I mean, she was doing her job, she was doing her thing. Miz made it personal. And Dean Ambrose retaliated as such. So I think that was a very effective backstage segment.
Very good, very well done. That was segment of the night. It wasn't the best thing on the show. It's just this show from top to bottom. There's little plot holes in the story, but if you take that away, it's actually a really good show. And this is another reason why you should watch it. It makes me want to watch Dean Ambrose versus Miz at what I'm guessing the Royal Rumble for the IC title. Oh, it's next week, isn't it? They're doing Miz versus Ambrose next week. I think they're going to do Miz versus Ambrose in a gimmick match at the Rumble, maybe a cage match or something. I can see it going that way.
They're going to have to escalate it to. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to use this match so that way they can escalate it for the Rumble.
And maybe a last man standing. There's always seems to be a last man standing match at the Rumble, so maybe they'll do a last. I don't know, but it's too early to speculate.
Right. Then we go backstage with Dasha Fuentes again. She's asking Nikki Bella about what it's like to be betrayed by Natty. Nikki talked about, she accomplished everything not because of her looks, but because, I busted my ass, and then, of course, Dasha asks, what were you going to say to, what would you say to Natalya? And Nikki says, well, anything that I have to say to Natalya, I'm going to say it to her face. And then we didn't hear anything else, which is actually kind of fine by me.
No, right. So the purpose of that from that interview from this robot was to find out, what is the, what do you have any words from Natalya? She completely blanked the question and went on a very uninspiring promo, which sounds like something a fan of Monday Night Raw wrote to her. Like literally, I suffered neck surgery. I'm now back. Believe in me. I am fearless Nikki. But what do you mean about what? Do you have any words for Natalya? I'm fearless Nikki Bella. Anything I would say it to her face.
It kind of reminded me of TNA because that's how every TNA backstage segment went. It was like, well, what do you got to say about this? Well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to the ring.
I'm glad they've stopped doing that. They used to do that, and it used to be real bad. It used to piss off Dave, didn't it? Dave used to get fucked off with that. Damn. Corbin up next. Corbin cut a very good promo.
Mm-hmm.
Like it literally is so good. I put short and sweet how we should do them. Like generally a very good promo from Mr. Baron Corbin. Are you okay? Can someone go over there in Chicago and check that man's head? Has he got a temperature? Because that was a fucking good promo. He needs to be like this more. He looked like a believable prick. Because if you watch Breaking Ground, you'll know he's a prick. He was literally saying, you know what? Fuck these people. I'm here for me and me only. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fucking win my WWE title from these midgets. I fucking love that. Brilliant job. When Baron Corbin is cutting good promos on the show, you know the show's going to be a win.
Yeah, I think Corbin was okay. I've got my own feelings about Corbin, which I'll make known right about now. We get to the triple threat match for the WWE Championship. It's Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler versus AJ Styles. I think they gave these guys plenty of time to do whatever they wanted to do. I wondered why they turned this from a singles match from Ziggler versus AJ Styles to throw in Baron Corbin in the mix. I thought it was because they were wanting some people to save some face, like particularly with Ziggler, so he's not completely buried. But however, I learned since then that no, they had Corbin in as like an insurance policy so they could help out AJ Styles, because remember he's recovering from an ankle injury, so it was kind of like a little bit of an insurance policy. And this delivered. I really felt like Ziggler and Styles got Corbin over, because I cannot stand Corbin. I hate Baron Corbin. I think he's completely overrated. I don't think he belongs on the main roster. I'll get into that stuff later. But with that being said, if you got two guys that can carry somebody like Corbin, it's Ziggler and Styles. I mean, hell, Styles drug a 5-star match out of Roman Reigns twice. So, I mean, to me, it's no shocker. Ziggler can make a broom look good.
Why are you speaking of Ziggler? So sorry to cut you off there. While we're talking about Ziggler, I don't understand the recent hatred for Ziggler. Can you explain to me? Because there's people who boo Reigns and boo Cena. Now it's seeming to be the cool thing to boo Dolph Ziggler. Since when has that been a cool thing to do?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't really understand why he's getting a lot of jeers as of late. I think maybe it's because the fans have given up on him. Because, I mean, it's just like he's...
See, the same fans that are booing Dolph Ziggler, can they get... Because they're giving up on him, can they give up on Raw? If those fans can give up on Ziggler, can they give up on Raw? So the ratings go down, so that people... Like, the thing is, these people are like, oh, yeah, Raw's awesome. This is awesome. Like, Raw's awesome. But then nothing's going to change. Nothing will change, because Vince is going on Twitter and checking out the poll. Well, obviously he's not. There's going to be a guy... Vince, 50% of people enjoyed Raw. Those other 50% must just be trolls. We are doing a great job, team. I'm proud of you all. Meals on me tonight, team. Like, it's just... I just don't understand the wrestling world, and it's funny sometimes. It just grinds my gears, and the hatred of Dolph Ziggler is one that... Can someone in the comments put in down below, or if it's not live, put in the comments on why the fuck is Dolph Ziggler so hated these days? Because I'm not on that bandwagon. I love Ziggler more than a straight man.
I mean, I like the guy. I mean, I think he did some things that doesn't exactly help his case, and that is, he sells like crazy. I mean, you could punch the guy, he'll sell it like you shot him. Exactly. And I brought this up before, but I remember this was a story that I heard, on the interwebs that, Scott Hall had talked about a conversation that he had with Terry Funk, and Terry Funk told him, don't get good at jobbing, because if you do, that's pretty much going to be all you're asked to do.
That's true.
And Ziggler, trying to get himself over and prove that he was a company guy, that he was a team player, put people over like a motherfucker. And fortunately, he's kind of been the guy that they've used him to put other people over. And now WWE has thrown him a bone every now and then. They'll give him an Intercontinental Championship reign. They'll give him a big, marquee win every now and then, but for the most part, it's just jobbing.
So you're telling me these people don't like Ziggler because he's good at his job? He is a good... He sells...
I'm completely speculating.
every wrestler should be a good seller. You know, it comes, you know, if you a complete wrestler, you would be able to have offense, sell, you know, it's character, promo. Like, that's like hating someone because they have a good character. I don't understand that. I understand why the selling, like you said, he's a bit over the top sometimes, but so was Shawn Michaels. So was Ric Flair. So was Mr. Perfect. And I just gave you 3 of the all-time greats of the wrestling world. I don't understand people sometimes, but well, maybe there is a different reason why people hate Ziggler, and I'll be fascinated to hear it.
Well, I don't know. They're gonna have to defend it, but afterwards, after the match, let's see here. There was a good spot where let's see, there was a end of days on Styles, but Dolph Ziggler hit a zigzag on Baron Corbin. This kept the match going. The end came when Corbin hit an end of days on Ziggler. AJ Styles bounced off the top rope and hit a phenomenal forearm, knocking Corbin out of the ring. This left Dolph Ziggler wide open. He gets the pin. AJ Styles wins the match. Afterwards, John Cena comes out. They have a little bit of a stare down. John Cena extends his hands. AJ Styles lays out the belt, shakes his hand. So here we go. We're getting ready to go to the next event. So
you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed that main event. I really, I'm going to give that 3.25 stars. I really did enjoy that.
Me too. I really enjoyed that double table spot where they just beat the crap out of Corbin and knocked him on top of the table. And by the way, I have a theory. Now there's something. I think it was like you or Dave or Sammy, somebody, I can't remember it, but somebody asked me, well, why do they always keep tearing remember they have the little SmackDown logo, little flimsy thing they take off, and they take off the monitors and they knock off, the light and everything. And I kept saying, well, maybe that's just for dramatic effect, because because when you tear that thing off and then you remove the monitors, you know what's coming next. It's building up. You're building up to something, whereas I have an idea, maybe that there is a latch or something in there that piece right there acts as like a pin to keep the table from like collapsing. While they're just doing commentary, like if somebody accidentally bumps into it, like if you notice, like somebody will bump into the table, it doesn't break, but if like a strong breeze comes by when that thing is off, it'll break. I'm thinking there's maybe some kind of latch in there. It's keeping the table stable. When you take that off, it takes off that latch, it unlatches it. It makes it easier to collapse. That's just crazy. But they do this thing.
I think they do that for safety reasons. Because if I'm a wrestler, like, would you rather just flat back bump on a fucking table, or flat back bump on a table where you're fucking landing on monitors and microphones and shit? I would fucking say no.
That's a part of it. But, you take that stuff out, it unlatches things and makes that table easier to collapse.
Yeah, there might be something under it. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, because why doesn't the table just collapse when somebody just bumps into it? You've seen people just get their faces slammed on it and it holds together perfectly. But when you take all that stuff off, then it breaks. Then it it doesn't break. It collapses down. I'm just throwing that out there. But anyway, they did this one where they super kicked Corbin on there, and Ziggler and AJ kind of had formed like a brief alliance. Ziggler dropped an elbow. Styles dropped a leg, and they just shattered the table. I thought that was a good spot in there.
My favorite spot was when Corbin hit Ziggler. Basically, Corbin had him in one arm, and he hit the end of days on AJ. And as he hit the end of days, Ziggler hit the zigzag on him, which could be my favorite spot the whole year. That was unbelievable. I've never seen that in my whole entire life, or even thought about it. Whatever agent, or was it whoever the wrestlers who sat down and said that's the spot, deserves a pay rise, because that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. And I really enjoyed this, and what a way to close the year. We started off shitty and we ended strong. Good job, SmackDown. Proud of you.
Good job. Okay, and you know what? Here's another thing. I don't know if you realize this or not, but there was only 3 matches on this entire show.
There was 3 matches, a story told throughout. Nothing wrong with this. There was good wrestling, and there was some good storytelling. Perfect.
And of what was shown on TV, we had almost an hour's worth of wrestling. And I know what you're thinking, it's a 2-hour show, an hour's worth. Well, some of that is commercial time, so take that out. You had some backstage stuff, advancing storylines. You had, whether you like it or not, that's a different story here. You had the Miz, you had Nikki Bellas, that was advancing stuff. James Ellsworth, that was advancing a storyline, and then you had championship match. I think all three of them were championship matches. Every match counted. Every match meant something.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I don't know if anyone else did.
I take notes. I think Raw should do the same thing when they watch SmackDown.
Dude, Raw needs to just fuck off. Like 3 hours and 15 minutes, however long they go now, is just too long for any TV show. But I just feel clean and fresh now that I didn't watch Raw yesterday. I feel so much better about myself. I don't know. Who knows? Well, I'll be doing Raw review next week because we're coming up to Rumble period. But with that being said, it's like after Mania, it's like they need to hit a serious reset button on the Raw and just sort that shit out. But Booms, do you have any live comments? My phone.
Got a few here. I'm going to try to zip through these because we're going to get to the Triforce Awards next. Sammy Sinister, he's back home. He's waiting in the wings. He's waiting for us to wrap up. So as soon as we do, be sure to join all three of us. It's our year-end award show. So, stay right here with us. So I'm going to run through your questions and comments really quick. So bear with me. I want to give a shout-outs to Clifton Smith, Fran Yelly, Ash Roy, Paul Waugh, Louis DeLa, and everybody else watching live. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right. Let's get back on it here. I'm looking just for questions here. What do you think? Will Undertaker interrupt the big AJ Styles Cena match, and 1, save us from the 16th title reign, and 2, set up a Mania match?
No.
That's a possibility.
Because I saw a post today from one of these sheets. I don't know which one, but it had the Elimination Chamber announced, and it had AJ Styles versus John Cena for the WWE title in a 2 out of 3 falls match. So we can basically say Cena AJ. We don't know who wins, but one of them's going to win, and then there'll be a 2 out of 3 falls match at Chamber, which is a SmackDown pay-per-view. And then maybe you get another match at Mania, or you get Cena versus the winner of the Rumble, or I have no fucking idea or interest, really. So this Taker involvement in Cena could just be a load of shit, and we get Taker versus someone else. Because I know for a while it was Taker versus Orton. Now it's changed to Taker versus Cena. Last year it was Taker versus Sting. The year before that it was just, God, it's just always something with Taker. Like, let's start a rumor of right here, right now. We're starting a rumor of The Undertaker versus Titus O'Neil for WrestleMania 33. Jesus Christ!
I used to do that. But like, according to an internet rumor, which I am just now starting, then I would just say whatever.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's just I tend to, when I look at those things, just like turn an eye and just roll my eyes and think, unless it's there in front of me, I will not believe.
Louis DeLaw says, any chance we get Samoa Joe as a surprise for the Rumble and have him face Cena at Mania? Surprise entrance for the Rumble? I would say a pretty strong possibility. Now, I've heard rumors that he's injured, but I have not heard how severe. NXT's been done with tapings for a while, so if he's smart, he's been at home recovering, so hopefully he'll be fresh and ready to go. And plus it's a Rumble match, so he doesn't have to be in there that long. It's not like he has to go the whole hour. But yeah, I could see him making a surprise appearance, and then you could do a storyline of who's going to, which, brand will he sign with. You could both have Stephanie and Shane trying to sign him. I think that could be a good storyline. As far as him facing Cena at Mania, I doubt it. I
doubt it either, but who knows? Who the fuck knows with WWE anymore? Anything could happen, and that's not always a good thing.
Clifton Smith, why hate Cena? He can put guys over. I would tell you why I hate Cena, but I really want to get to the Triforce Awards.
I like Cena. I agree with Big Matt with Cliff. I like Big Match John. If people hate him because they want to fit in and want to be cool, I like the guy. I think he's marketable. He puts people over from time to time, and he just gives it that big match feel. And he's a draw, and I like that. I hope SmackDown killed it in the ratings tonight.
Let's see. Again, is the Intercontinental Championship important anymore?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think they've done. You know what? I think they've done a good enough job this year in rebuilding that. And credit goes to Miz and Ziggler for rebuilding the interest in the IC title. And I saw a comment in there about 205 Live. Tomorrow, which is Wednesday, I will be reviewing 205 Live and NXT. And then Thursday, we'll be reviewing Lucha Underground, Friday, TNA, and one of those days as well, an IPW review. So that's the plan of attack for this week, if you're wondering what the show schedule is. And we've got Triforce Awards next, of course.
All right, last question, then we really need to get to the Triforce Awards. Clifton Smith asked, are the monitors real? They never seem to have a picture on them. Yes, they are real. The reason why they don't have a picture on them is because they're yanking them, they're pulling the power source out. So that's why they go black. But yes, those work because here's what happens. Is the commentary team has those monitors for a reason, because they're watching it, because they're showing what's actually being shown on your television screen. So that way they can, they can call exactly what you're seeing. So they're not calling anything that's happening across where you can't see it. And that's the reason why they have those there.
Yeah. Simples. Go show them why you're the best salesman or pitchman or whatever the fuck going to be called in the business.
All right. Again, Triforce Awards, our annual end of the year awards coming up next. So please stay with us here. Be sure to like, subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Check us out at KocoSports.com, KocoSports.com, your home for combat sports. It's where the world goes to kick ass, and most importantly, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. So that's going to do it for us right now. Please stand by. We're doing the Triforce Awards. Just stand by on the channel. We're going to have a new show coming up as soon as we can get this thing up and running to go. So stand by. So in the meantime, the boom just went bang, and I am out.